Hi, I'm Chloe from Chocomellow Cocoa Bakery, and today I'm going to be showing you how to fondant ice a cake. Okay, so the tools that you're going to need today, the first one is your rolling pin. You're also going to need your 2 icing polishers, the coconut oil, which is that one, and your board or your work surface or whatever it is that you're going to be rolling out on. So the first thing is to get some of your coconut oil, and you're going to just, probably about the size of a pea or something, kind of about that much. And we're going to rub that onto the board, and you just want to cover your board so it's got quite a nice like slippery finish. You can use, to put on your board anyway, I know a lot of people use corn flour, but some people are allergic to it, so it's not really ideal to use. And also it can dry the icing out as well. It changes the consistency. So I much prefer to use like an oil-based thing. You could use sunflower oil or whatever you've got in the cupboards if you don't have that at the time. So it's not the end of the world. Then you're just going to take your icing and you just need to knead it. And you can see it's all sort of cracking and tearing. So this isn't in a position that it can be used yet because it's all sort of cracking down here. When you first take your icing out of the packet, you might find it's quite hard. And if it is, you can just put it in the microwave for a couple of seconds, but literally do it for a couple of seconds at a time, because otherwise you'll end up getting like little burnt crystallized patches. I know that from experience. And you basically want to get it to a point where it is completely smooth on the edges, so there's no cracking at all. You want like a really good side to your icing. So if you put this smooth edge on the bottom of your board, which this is quite important, and you have all of your seams on the top, the seams will pretty much disappear anyway, but it just means that you would definitely have one side of your icing that's really smooth and flat, and that's the bit that you're going to see on your cake. And then we're just going to start to roll it out. And you'll find that most of the seams that I was showing you a second ago will end up coming out of your icing anyway. This is really important to get a really good finish on your cake. So if you've got a badly fondant iced cake, well, you could do anything on the rest of your cake and it won't look that good. So that's probably about as thick as you want to have your icing. So I've done it to about 3 mil. However, if you've not iced many cakes before, you can obviously go to about 5 mil. It's totally up to you. If it's thicker, basically, it gives you a bit more leeway to kind of cover up any imperfections that might be in the icing or the buttercream. So basically, this is ready to go now. So I'm going to go and grab the cake out of the fridge. And I'll bring it back and I'll show you how to put the icing on top of the cake. Okay, so here's one I made earlier. This is the cake that we're going to ice. And I'm just going to show you next how to get your icing onto the top of your cake. So there's a bit of a technique to it. So you're literally just going to put your rolling pin in the middle of your sheet of icing, and you're just going to really slowly peel back the top of the icing and pull it over so it's sort of like half there and half on the other side, and just grab your cake and pull it into the middle of your board. And so this is your nice smooth top side, so this is the one that we want to use, and you're just from the back gonna guide the icing over the top of the cake slowly, and voila. So now you're gonna have like flaps around the edge of your cake, and these are the bits that you want. You don't pull them away from the cake because you'll tear the icing. You're pushing it back into the cake. So this is quite important. And each time you do it, you're kind of like lifting it up and flapping it back in. I know that sounds a bit strange, but you should be able to see from what I'm doing that I'm not pulling the icing away from the cake, because you don't want to end up with like real funny thin little bits of icing. Okay, so the next step is to, now you've got like a nicely finished iced cake, is to cut away the excess. So you're just going to take your scalpel, or you can take, this is like a cake making scalpel, but you can just use a really sharp kitchen knife. It's absolutely fine, it's perfect. And you're just going to trim away the edges of the icing, but you don't want to cut too close to the cake at this point. So I start by cutting it probably about 1 centimetre away from the edge of the board. And then you can just lift away the excess and just pop that to one side. Then we can finish off polishing the cake with the cake polishers down the sides and the edges, because we've done the top now. So it's literally just to make sure that the sides are all neat and looking lovely. The other thing is, because you've already spent so much time making your icing look nice, this bit doesn't actually tend to take too long because you've got really nice, neat, flat icing to work with anyway, and it's smooth, but you're just kind of smoothing out any imperfections that might be on it. Once you've done that and you're happy with the sides of your cake, then we're just going to use the scalpel again to take away all of the excess icing on the edges of your cake. And to do this, there is a bit of a technique to it. If you just cut in, just find where the board is, and then you're gonna, once you've got to the board, just hold your scalpel up vertically and then just use the board as a guide to start cutting the icing all the way around. And then you'll have a perfectly straight cut along the edge, and then you'll just have the board showing, which is absolutely what you want, because then we're just going to put like some ribbon or something around the edge of it so you don't actually see the board. And that is it. Now you have a beautifully iced cake that is ready for decorating, and I'm going to show you how to make some wonderful decorations on my next tutorial.